broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Hello everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. If this is your first time tuning in, WCZR is an independent streaming rock station based out of Appleton, Wisconsin. And typically during Fox Cities Core, we would air live on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Today we have a special edition of Fox Cities Core though. We've got the man himself, Brett Newski, in the studio. Brett, how you doing?
What's up, McNamara? Thanks for hosting me.
I appreciate you doing this because I know you've had a lot going on. And Mile of Music is always, it's busy, even if, you know, you've got 2 to 12 shows, either way.
Yeah, it's nice to not have shows now. We played 2 yesterday. I was like hoping to go out and rally with friends and have a drink or two, but I just went to bed at like 9:45 p.m. and biked over to your house this morning, and here we are.
You biked over. So
yeah.
Is that how you've been getting around Mile of Music the last couple days?
Yeah, well, Roman Esco usually loans me his scooter. His his super putter scooter that zips around, but it's out of commission. And now, yeah, it's a push bike for me.
Nice. That's cool. So, I mean, I know Bike to the Beat's going on right now, which is, I don't know if you've ever participated in that.
I don't know anything about like biking culture. I don't like wear the spandex or like, you know, the uniform or the costume or the pointy helmet. I'm just kind of like a loser with short shorts that bikes around Appleton with a water bottle and a Gatorade.
You're no stranger to the Appleton area. You've been performing up here for quite a while. I mean, what's your earliest memory of Appleton, Wisconsin?
I think I played like a backyard, like Basil's backyard for like maybe like $200 10 years ago, like in the middle of the sun. And that was at the infancy of Appleton, of stuff starting to happen here. But you could start to feel it a little bit. I remember Ian Thompson was the door guy, and he's now like the kingpin. So like we were both kind of starting on the toilet bowl circuit. Now we're both doing it full time, which is pretty cool.
Was it like, as far as this Mile Music 10, what mile is it for you? How many times have you been up here?
We've probably we've probably played Mile of Music 6 or 7 times. There's been about 4 or 5 times where the previous talent buyers offered us like $100, so we're like, all right, we can't do that. I can't lose my ass. But the offers have gotten much better, and the people have been so sweet to us, and now we want to come as much as possible.
That's great, and a lot has happened since the first time you came up here. The band switched out. You rebranded as Newski.
Yes.
So what drove the reason to go from Brett Newski to Newski?
I think it's just, our sound is just such a band sound, and naming your band after your name it's like such an Americana thing, and that's just not us, you know. So I think it just made a lot of sense sonically, and like, and the name is kind of quirky. The band's kind of quirky, you know. We get to do a lot of dumb stunts on stage and antics, and you know, we have a couple more tongue-in-cheek songs, so it just kind of felt like time to do it, you know.
As the response, anybody confused by that?
It doesn't seem like it. I was worried about it. The only things that are confused are social medias, like trying to merge profiles. It's been actually quite a very minor hiccup, but you know how it goes, like trying to get a hold of anyone at like Apple Music or Spotify. If you need like a hand, like merging a profile, it's just not going to happen. You're just, right. It's all robots and cyborgs. So it's what it is. And these things I don't really stress about too much anymore. Like the small stuff, it just used to drive me much more insane. And now I, whatever, you know.
So when did you officially start playing music and decide to pursue it on a like professional level?
I think during college we started to get paid. You know, we had some party bands in college, and that was great. And that was like the moment where I was like, oh, we can actually make money playing music. Whoa, I never thought that'd be possible. Because I grew up in like a Midwest household, pretty, you know, blue collar, like straight down the pipeline. So like making money at the arts or mixing arts and commerce was like never a thing that was even feasible. So Yeah, and then post-college, I just went hard and, worked some weird, odd jobs. I've probably had like 40 different bizarre, odd jobs to kind of supplement the music. And then the last, 10 years, it's kind of been all I've done. That's my only source of income.
Does that make it more enjoyable or less enjoyable to also have that as your only stream of income?
Well, it's cool for a while. I think I'm in my mid 30s now, so I'm just coming. The novelty has worn off, so I probably rode on straight desperation and novelty and thrills for probably 10 years straight, which makes you relatively unshakable mentally in some facets. I mean, I've had plenty of troughs, but and now it's just like, okay, how can I sustain? How can I live healthier? How can I do this for the long haul? Because even having a beer or two at a show, it's like that slows you down. So yeah, I mean, it takes just a lot of discipline, diet, exercise, working more efficiently. I think it's easy to do busy work for the sake of work, to feel like you're busy, or posting on social media can be pretty empty, or like it's like social media is like it's like the illusion of progress. You're not actually really doing anything when you're posting on social media. Like the way to make progress is like making things, making stuff. And then if you want to show it to people on social media, great. But so yeah, spending less time on the internet, spending more time creating all these things, and just trying to get more sound mentally, have a stronger community around, more consistent friends that you see more often, which is a hard thing in America. People are so busy and they have families or multiple families. No, I don't know. Yeah.
How do you put a handle on the social media stuff? Because it seems like there's every year another platform, and it seems like there's a group of people on this one, a group of people on that one. Do you have an easy way to make sure you're hitting all the platforms? Do you care about that? Do you just pretty much post an update one platform, like Instagram or Facebook, or are you on Threads now?
Great question. Don't even know what Threads is. Yeah, on that regard, it's just what's the price of your sanity? It's like, I think for anyone doing this sort of thing, focus on the 2 or 3 social medias that work for you and just get good at those. I mean, maybe that's not good advice, but it's working for me, I suppose. We're not like a TikTok band. We don't have a following on TikTok, but we have a good Facebook following, and people find out about us through Instagram. So that seems to be working. But yeah, right. If you can get ahead of a technological trend and get in early, like for example, if you were in on Kazaa or Napster early, and you could figure out a way to leak your music on Napster before everyone knew about it, you could gain quite a lot of followers because it was a new thing if you hit it right at the right time. So that's still a thing if you can be ahead of technology. I can't spend too much time thinking about that, or I won't make any good songs.
Well, yeah, and I guess too, when a new platform comes out, you've got to hurry to get Newski now, or else you're going to be Newski Band or the Newski or Newski.672.
Horrible to think about these things. Yeah. I mean, even if you copyright your own name, I was just talking to an attorney, Pete Strand, today. My attorney, feels cool to say that. My attorney, Pete, he told me, even if you trademark your own band name, if someone claims it on a platform before you can't do shit about it, So
it's interesting.
What the hell's the law for?
Well, so what was the first thing you put out? What was the first release that you put out under Brett Newski?
It was called In Between Exits. It was recordings I made while I lived in Asia, traveling around. So I would record at all these lo-fi makeshift studios in Saigon or the Philippines or Hong Kong when I lived over there. And that was kind of like Elliott Smith-ish type thing, acoustic, indie, kind of weird, melodic, short acoustic based songs. And then I formed a band in Saigon, Vietnam called Brett Newski and the Corruption, and we made an album called Tiny Victories, which I still think is really good. And
I might have missed it, but what were you doing over there?
I was just living in in Nam.
just because you decided to do that, or was there a reason behind it?
I think I'm just insane. Okay. No, yeah, I was just traveling around and I really liked it. So I was like, I'm going to try to move here for a year. And then a year turned into 2 years. And yeah, I formed a band with a British guy and a Canadian dude in central Saigon. And we put out this album called Tiny Victories and toured the USA 2 times on it. And I think it still holds up. It's not a lot of people heard it because we did it before we knew we had any industry connections or knew anything about how to tour. But yeah, it's a cool memory, you know.
And at that point, you weren't really doing anything like it was more like hobby as far as playing.
Well, I was doing music full time, but not in just like releasing my own records and selling them. I was like teaching guitar. I was like doing voiceovers, doing like commercial music for TV, stuff like that. So I would get I'd get a call on my little $15 burner phone in Vietnam and be like, "Hello, Mr. Brett? Mr. Brett?" And be like a little Vietnamese lady who like barely spoke English. She's like, "You come to 222 Winden 2 Street at 2:00 Red Bull commercial." And then I would like zoom through the alleyways and the corridors with my motorbike and try to find like this weird recording studio in some back dingy alley in Ho Chi Minh City and go up to the booth, record 30 minutes of Red Bull voiceovers, make a couple $100 and, well, in this case, a couple million Vietnam dong, and then I would go home or go to the next job.
Are you still in communication with a lot of people that you met over there?
Not really, a few. You know, I mean, expat life and, you know, particularly like foreigners living in Asia, it's like you're generally there for a year, 2-3 years at the most. Some people are lifers or they get married and have families over there. But for the most part, people, you know, move on. So I do still have some friends there, but one of my good buddies, Carl, I call him Baby Santa. He's just a cute person, looks like a baby Santa. He's a Swedish guy. He turned me on to a lot of great rock music. But he started like a business in Vietnam, and now he's like doing pretty good. I forget what he does. I think he like bottles like tea or something, and yeah, he's still living there in the madness.
Well, the first time I heard about you was when I saw this at the Yellowphone in Milwaukee.
Wow, you're at Yellowphone,
and yeah, that's the first time we talked.
Dang,
I think
okay,
we were
yeah.
down at the merch table.
All right,
had some conversation, but I took that home and I listened to it and loved it. I mean, this is like, I'd say more kind of not folky, but sort of kind of.
It's like acoustic punk, I would call it.
Yeah, I mean, it was different, which was cool about it. And I noticed at the time that like you had at least according to the back of this, a big team working for you, or a lot of people like doing stuff. It wasn't just, you know, artwork, Brett, producing, Brett.
Right,
you know,
yeah. There was a label, Goodland Records, which I believe is on hiatus or defunct now, but they were an awesome label out of Milwaukee. I'm sure you're aware of them. They put out a bunch of power pop and indie rock stuff. And yeah, they put out that first record, American Folk Armageddon, which is kind of like a Violent Femmes inspired, you know, acoustic punk record, minimal, but drums, bass, acoustic guitar, kind of loud and fast. And I actually regret calling that album American Folk Armageddon because now like journalists still call us like a folk rock band, which just pisses me off so much. Like, but yeah, what can you do?
And, you know, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but you ended up playing with a lot of people that, you know, you were probably inspired by around that time, like the Femmes, and we'll get into that. But when this was released, well, when the full album was released, did you get a good reaction right away? Was your fan base building up, or did it take a little bit?
I mean, yeah, it took a long ass time. I mean, that record made a lot of sense because it was, you know, acoustic bass. I could tour on it solo. I think I played 200 shows that year in 2014, you know, all over the world. I played a lot in Ireland and mainland Europe, and I played a little bit in South Africa, and then all around the States, you know, rough kind of DIY tours, real crusty and grungy, and sleeping on porches and, you know, on people's trampolines and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the label helped, you know, it has a little bit of a following. So people discovered my stuff through the label, which was pretty cool. But most of it's just going out and playing and meeting people. I've been building an email list since the first show I ever did, passing it around at shows. And back then, you know, 10, 11 years ago, it was really like not cool to do that sort of thing. I think it was seen as like kind of lame or like something a cool band wouldn't do. But now it's like, it's saved my life. Like there's like 14,000 people on the band email list. So whenever we put out releases or songs, like people know about it. And, you know, I put out tour journals of like weird places we play and basically real time. If we're like playing overseas and we're, you know, playing some weird castle town, you know, I'll write about it and the weirdos we meet and the creepy places we stay, and put it out every Friday on the newsletter. So yeah.
You had a release come out today, so congratulations, a single, right?
Oh, thanks.
it's got like to me, it sounds very inspired by the 90s, and you bring that up yourself, like that you're kind of like a 90s, like, and grunge, all different kind of comments. But I mean, is that like the main music that inspired your writing?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, the 90s were big for me when I was a little kid, all that rock stuff on the radio. But yeah, I really like, I mean, as part of our sound and some of our songs, I guess people call them like slacker rock, which is probably an example of the latest song, which is called "This Love Is a Fluke." And, it's funny and ironic to me because we're like a band that obviously like works very hard, but plays slacker rock, which is probably not very cool, which is why Pitchfork maybe doesn't write about us. But, it's fun. I love lyrically driven music. I think lyric writing is one of my strengths as a songwriter. I'm maybe not the best singer or guitarist in the world, but I feel like I've got like something to say lyrically. And I don't know. Lyrics are a bit of a niche, like people who really pay attention to words and, like maybe hyper literate music listeners. Like it's definitely a smaller segment of the musical population as listeners, but those who are into it are really into it,
It's a good point, because there is like music that's good, and sometimes if you know what the lyrics are, the song can all of a sudden not be as good.
Totally.
Or it can all of a sudden be a bad song, and you read the lyrics, you're like, well, I guess the song's better than I thought it was.
Great point, yeah.
But your latest single, it does have kind of like a Beck kind of sound, like when Beck was doing more of the
Love Beck.
Yeah, doing more of the early stuff, which I really like a lot. And then there's a song I think was called "What Are You Smoking?" Or
yeah,
is that the title
kind of talk singing.
Yeah, similar vibe to it, but I really like it, and I don't think there's a lot of artists around here that are still doing that, so it makes it unique.
Yeah, thanks, McNamara. Well, it's I mean, that is cool. It's like, I guess if you want that sort of thing in the Midwest or Wisconsin, I do feel like we're kind of like one of the only bands doing it, which has limitations, but it's also good. It's like, hey, if we want that sort of thing, let's go see Newski. It's not the coolest genre in the world or the most trending genre.
Disagree.
Okay, yeah, you're the man. That's why I love you. But, it has a place. It has a following, and we have awesome people that come to our shows. They're like really, in general, like I'm obviously sweeping with a wide brush, but we have a lot of great, weird ass people that come see us play that we enjoy talking to, and they're characters. A lot of them are, I would call them like straight up cartoon characters. So we have an awesome following. It's not like, it's not like 20-year-olds who go to Bonnaroo come see us. It's a little different. That's okay. It's like, it's also nice that our fans and our crowd is employed and has money to spend on records. That's great too. So much love people who come to see us.
You're really good at marketing as well. Like just the t-shirt designs, like you never get stale. You're constantly like putting out more stuff for people to buy.
I love making merch. I think it's so fun. And I think we're lucky in a sense that I guess it's sort of quote unquote on brand to make dumb merch, dumb t-shirts. And that, to me, that's easier to sell because it's easier to promote because you don't have to, I don't know, it's self-deprecation. So it's a bit easier to not want to hate yourself when you're promoting stuff to sell, because you gotta sell shirts and you gotta sell records if you want to keep going. So, but yeah, being good at marketing I'll take that as a compliment, but I think a lot of people especially 10 years ago when I was starting, it's like, if you were good at marketing, you were a loser. Like you were not a cool band, and the hipsters in Madison hated us. But that's how it goes.
What's your all-time favorite Brett Newski shirt that you've designed?
Well, our all-time biggest selling shirt is the one where I drew a cartoon of Tom Petty that says Tom Petty may or may not be Jesus. That one probably has sold the most, including Tom Petty's management bought a bunch of them, which that's insane.
You had a Dave
thought
Grohl
he was going to
shirt.
sue us for sure. Yeah, I made a shirt that said Dave Grohl does not listen to Brett Newski. That one was fun. I made a shirt on the last tour that just says person on it. That one's pretty stupid. People have liked that one. one of the first shirts I ever made was like a Nike bootleg shirt with an upside down Nike sign that said "Don't not do it." I saw some guy wearing that not too long ago. I was like, whoa, that's from like 2011 or something. So I don't know. So one time I found one of my shirts at Goodwill in like the $4 rack. And it was the funniest part was that it was signed. Like the person had me sign it on the back. And it was like I said, it's worth less now, now it's at Goodwill.
Did he buy it back?
Did I? No. What if someone saw me do that? It'd be the end.
I probably would have tried to buy it back and then could have
resell
sold
it. Yeah, $30 at a show.
Was it personalized
signed.
too, or just signed?
No personal.
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
just
You could have sold that.
Yeah, maybe
Flip
so. Yeah, it looked a little ratty, but that's it now. You can go to Austin, Texas, and buy $45 ratty T-shirts. At the thrift stores.
Nuts.
So.
Did you collect T-shirts when you were going to shows when you were growing up, like concert T-shirts? And
Yeah,
band T-shirts?
sure. I couldn't really afford to buy concert T-shirts, but like the few that I bought, or my pops bought me a Bare Naked Ladies shirt on the Maroon tour and from like 2000, and that I still have. I remember going into the arena and seeing shirts were $25, and this is like 20 years ago or whatever, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, $25 for a shirt, which was insane back then. But now you go to a show and it's like Foo Fighters, it's like $50 shirts, $50 for a T-shirt. So
well, you probably used to do
ours
what
are 25. We gotta crank up our merch prices.
We used to always buy like the bootleg shirts, and you would leave like the arena, there'd be somebody out there with a bunch under their extra large shirt and $10 and
that's awesome.
I don't know if you bought any of those back in
Never
the day.
did. No, I don't remember seeing those, but they must have been hawking them.
Yeah, the late 90s, it was huge. Like I got some Pearl Jam ones and Paul McCartney when he played at the old stadium in Milwaukee. And sometimes you'd have a misspelling on there or
that's awesome.
Something that wasn't
That's
accurate,
what you want.
But,
see, I was not a big enough kid in the 90s to go to shows. I was still a little kid. So I didn't start going to shows till like 2003 or 4 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's when I stopped.
Nice.
Well, so when you're selling merch, are you even selling CDs and records anymore? I know.
Yeah. We sell vinyl and CDs. CDs have kind of taken a dip the past couple of years, but we still make them for some reason.
Like, it seems like there's lots of vinyl collectors. A lot of people buy that even without owning a record player because it's just kind of a cooler piece of art. Do you find that? I mean, I know you released vinyl before. Are you even looking at vinyl when you put out your new releases, or was it such a pain in the butt? I think it was Upside Down. Was that the
Life Upside Down? I try to put out everything on vinyl. We printed 1,000 copies of the album "Don't Let the Bastards Get You Down," which was that's a big run.
Yeah.
And then the Pando hit, so that was brutal. But actually, I went down in the basement the other day. We don't have that many left, so if you tour enough, even if you're not, a major selling indie band, it's like you do sell records, and it's like you'll be surprised at. And yeah, some people want them that don't have a record player, which is great, and you can get them into shops, and people buy those. So, there's a risk, but to me, it's like the ultimate legitimizer of an album. Like if it's on vinyl, boom. Yeah. It'll at least live another 50 or 100 years before it's melted down into wax and turned into like. A Post Malone greatest hits.
I've seen like at some of the shops or some of the like farmer market shops, you've got the people that make the old records into bowls, which I don't know if you've seen that. They'll melt the sides up. So it's
yes,
like
those
bowl.
are cool.
They're cool, but like
chip bowls.
But the bands that are, these are worthless enough where I'm going to make these into a bowl.
But at least you live on. You're immortal.
That's true.
In a bowl of salsa.
That's true. With the CD, I guess you could kind of do some artwork with the CD, but not like a record, I guess.
CDs are trash. They're such garbage. They're basically just like disc golf frisbees,
What do you think of the small group of people that are trying to make a cassette revival?
I think cassettes rule. I love them. Our crowd doesn't really buy them, but if you're like a cool band in your early 20s, like cassettes are rad and they're cheap. I still buy them from bands and they're like $5 or $10. So I just bought a little like old boombox so I can listen to them. But I think I like them because they remind me of like Nintendo cartridges or Sega Genesis cartridges. Were you a Sega Genesis guy?
We had a Nintendo and then a Super Nintendo, and then we didn't have anything after that.
Yeah, you get it.
Oh, yeah, so you've got the cassettes. The one thing about those, though, it's almost like vinyl where you're kind of stuck listening unless you want to forward. You kind of have to listen to it through, which when you're sequencing your albums, are you putting a lot of time into the sequence of it?
Sure. I mean, sequence is huge.
Put
it's
it
fun.
in 20 different mixes and see what you got?
That's one of the most fun steps, sequencing an album or making a set list. I think that's really enjoyable.
What's the step you hate the most about working on an album?
Well, I mean, promoting shows sucks the most balls for sure. But as far as the creative process, I mean, that's kind of the rad part. I don't know if there's a part I don't like. I don't really want to engineer my own record if I don't have to. That's a bit pain in the butt. But yeah, creative process rules. That's the easy part. Like I always say, making records is easy, promoting them isn't, or is hard, or whatever. I don't know, something like that. Promoting records and getting them out there that's the tough thing amongst the infinite digital ether, and everyone has a couple bands these days.
I heard that crack.
Yeah, that was my neck. It felt good. Felt good.
So you did 2 shows at Mile of Music. The last one was on Houdini Plaza, right? Or did you have one after that? Oh, you played later.
We played Houdini Plaza in the sun, and that was tough. Like playing in the sun where you can't see your pedals and your guitar gets melted out of tune. You know how that goes. But but it was cool. It was pretty good crowd, and the set was like loose in the way that we were, I don't know, kind of making fun of each other and making fun of ourselves, and we came up with some new bits, so that was cool. And then
the bass player had like a mask on, which
he had a Shrek mask.
Yeah, it's like it seemed like a bad time to wear that in the heat.
He always puts the Shrek mask on like mid-set and rocks it for a couple songs. Sean, our bass player, he's very good with like little mini gimmicks, like bonus gimmicks. So we'll just be walking around Toronto, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to buy this pumpkin costume." And then he'll walk around all day in a pumpkin costume, or then give it to a fan and sign it. So all that stuff kind of helps boost morale on tour,
You played at Houdini Plaza last year as well. I think you played later at night.
That was insane. I think we had the 8 o'clock.
It was a crazy show.
It was awesome, yeah. That was one of my favorite shows of all time.
And then this year, of course, was earlier in the day, which is still kind of fun to play. But like you said, the sun can be in your eyes, and it's just kind of hot.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of needed it. I kind of felt like maybe I needed to sweat a bunch and just kind of, sometimes that, like a hard workout, you get done with that and you just feel like a new man and feel way better. So I think it was necessary.
Are you in a chatty mood after you get done playing typically?
No, I'm useless. Like I can't tell what anyone's saying to me. My mind blanks. I can't really hear what people are saying. I'm like, it's like overstimulation or something. And then I have to go sit in the car for a while and then come back.
Well, before the show, are you in a good headspace? Like, what do you normally do to get in the mindset to play a show? Do you need silence or?
I haven't been in a good headspace all summer. Before the show, I usually just go for a walk around the city. I'm not super personable like before.
Get stopped a bunch of times, have somebody talk to you all the way back to the venue.
Sometimes that happens, which is an honor, but I usually go try to find a path in the woods or something where, or that's kind of the, I think it's just, I try to save up all the social juice I have for when we go on stage. And then I just drain that to oblivion and recharge later, take a fat nap,
Do you ever get paranoid that your guitar's not going to be in tune?
No, not really. I mean, I got a really nice guitar, and if it does go out of tune, we can kind of cover each other and make a bit out of it, which can sometimes add to the show.
Have you ever been hurt during a show?
Yeah, I mean, not seriously. I did pop my back once. It wasn't to the point where I couldn't stand or finish the show, but I was afterwards. I had to ice for a week, because I don't know. We're still young and nimble. I want to be able to jump around for a while, so it feels good,
Really, I really appreciate you doing this. It's great to have you down here. It's awesome.
Anytime, man. This studio rules. It's a classic Midwest basement. It reminds me of That 70s Show. So I feel like I'm going to see Red Foreman pop up behind the drum set or something.
So there is a built-in grill over there, which I've never used. The house inspector said that's not fire brick. And he heavily suggested we don't use that for grilling the microwaves in there.
Oh,
right
yeah. It looks like fake brick or something.
Yeah. Hey, what's cheaper? That's fire bricks double? Yeah, let's just go with the regular. It'll be fine.
Plastic brick.
So you had a book come out, and then I'm curious, like, you're such a outgoing personality and so friendly, but I was really surprised when the book came out and it sort of addressed kind of like issues in mental health and stuff like that. Like what drove you to kind of get out of your comfort zone and put all that out there? Because that's, I mean, a huge thing to actually come out and say, you know, this is how I feel, and to kind of help others in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I've always been like talking about mental health in song, you know, kind of making fun of my own anxieties and that sort of thing. And that's been like a good way to emote and kind of vent out my little emo kid self. But yeah, I mean, I always wanted to make a book, and the Pando is so huge creatively because I had all this time to create, and I just made so many drawings and paintings and all these like kind of depression comedy jokes, and it fit all together in that book. I think some of you guys have it. It's called "It's Hard to Be a Person: Defeating Anxiety, Surviving the World, and Having More Fun." And yeah, that's been a cool ride because it's like a parallel thing to the music, where it's like it's put me in some new avenues creatively, and also like I've got to talk to tons of new media that, you know, CBS or NBC or people outside of like the music press, which has been neat. And yeah, man, it's been cool. I didn't expect that, but I guess mental health is big talk, part of the culture right now. So I think part of it latched onto the culture, and like I still get messages from like emails from like therapists and like even like rehab clinics that are like, hey, we bought a couple copies for the clinic and people like it and stuff. So it's cool. Yeah.
I mean, when somebody comes up to you and says like, this book helped me, you know, get through this, I mean, how do you react to that? I mean, what can you really say to that? That's pretty huge. I mean,
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like someone says it and it's like, usually it's right after a show, so my brain is fried and I have trouble like everything sinking in, but usually it hits me later. It's like this mom came up to me and she's like, hey, my son loves your book. It's helped him a lot. He went to rehab and he showed it to everyone in the rehab facility, and they're like, oh yeah, we already read that. That book's awesome. So like they had it in there already, and that was cool. And that was something that like when I got home that night, it was like hit me as like, wow, like, because I think there's like you kind of beat yourself up as a human person, and maybe more so as a musician, where you're like, what I do is like selfish, or it's just like my job is cool, I'm just doing it for myself, or it's for me, that yada yada. But then you're like, oh, what I do actually has purpose and like is useful to people, and that's like huge. And I think people in general just need to kind of pat themselves on the back when they everyone needs to not be so hard on themselves, because I do that as much as the next person. So
the title of the book I love. It's hard to be human, because I'm always saying, and my wife and I, it's like when
it's hard to be a person.
When our son does something and he's stressed out, it's like it's hard to be a kid. But then it's, people do grow up and it's just hard to be a person. I mean, it's like there's lots of different struggles in life and lots of different things to overcome, and everybody's different. And where can somebody buy that book if they're interested in picking it up?
Well, I think it's wherever on the internet. The best place is newskimusic.com. That's direct from the source through our website. But yeah, I think it's a lot of booksellers.
When somebody buys it on Amazon, I mean, how does that affect obviously what's coming back to you? Like, how big of a cut does Amazon take from something like that?
I can't remember exactly. I have a buddy who handles all my Amazon, but yeah, they certainly take a cut. So yeah, best to get it from the band directly. But yeah, Jeff.com or Jeff Bezos sells it as well. Jeffrey.
He's got to buy another yacht or another.
Jeffrey Bezos.
I'm gonna sample that and use that.
That's like I think that's like a Bo Burnham song. He has that song that's like it's really funny. He's speaking of depression comedy, he's the master, Bo Burnham. But it's like, can I swear on here?
It's early. I mean, it's your call.
But
maybe say like.
Okay. Well, listen to the Jeffrey Bezos song by Bo Burnham. Okay, whatever.
Sorry, I had to put the clamp down there.
No, it's cool.
Okay, so you did the book. You've got all this music out. You've shot a ton of music videos that are really clever. I'm sure everybody saw it. You can I say you went viral with some of your store videos?
We've had a few like mini viral moments, I guess. Yeah, we played a show at a Walmart years ago. And then now everyone's kind of like doing stunts like that. But where else? We played at Chipotle. Everyone hated us there. Walmart loved us. We were like, we're big at Walmart. Chipotle thinks we stink.
Well, I love what you did at Chipotle because during that one you took a bite out of somebody's food, and then later it was like another good promo, a double dip, where you could say that was planted, and then you kind of pointed out
we did a analysis video.
Yeah, which is great because then you can get it in front of people again. They'll have to watch it again.
That's cool. We should actually. That's a fun model of what you see people do, like commentary videos. We should do that more. What could we do commentary videos on? What would be like a good series?
We could do commentary videos on like anything, like other music videos. I mean, people do it.
Yeah,
it
do like a Beavis and Butthead format. That's actually not bad.
Were you a Beavis and Butthead fan?
Sure, yeah. Big time.
Did you discover any bands off that show?
I don't think so. I remember when the music videos came on, I'd always get kind of bummed out because I thought that part of the show sucked, but I loved the cartoons.
There's a Babes in Toyland is one band I discovered off there. They played a song called Bruised Violet, which, anyways, it was good. Yeah,
I don't remember, like, maybe they played more deep cut videos on that show. Is that something? Because I don't remember knowing a lot of the bands on Beavis and Butthead.
Well, a lot of them were bad videos that they could make fun of, or something with fire in it, or something.
Fire.
Yeah. Well, do you have an album that you've done that is harder than the other? Like, you did an album with, like, where you were songwriting with a lot of heroes of yours, a lot of like musicians that you looked up to growing up. I mean, was that album a little more stressful to do than some of the previous ones, or was it just easier because it was kind of a fun experience? Like, I don't want to...
Oh, yeah. So this latest album, it's called Friend Rock, and the concept is every song on the album has a guest who is like a musical influencer, a musical hero of mine, or, who's become kind of a friend. So... those weren't co-writes. They were, I wrote those songs on my own, and then I would have the artist guest vocal on them and sing a verse and a harmony kind of thing. That was cool. I mean, I think the only thing that sucked was just chasing down tracks from all over the world, following up with deadlines and trying to get to send me tracks before certain deadlines. Musicians are erratic and all over the place. So, but these cats came through big, and it was kind of at the end of the Pando, so people were at home, and it was perfect time to do it.
So was a lot of it done, obviously, sending tracks online, and then they would record their parts, send it back, and
exactly
do it that way?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was cool because there's artists, from the UK. Matthew Caws from Nada Surf lives in the UK. He did it over there. I had a band from South Africa, the Shabs. They sent one in from Cape Town. Micah Ehrenberg in Manitoba, Canada. So yeah, it was like a kind of a global effort in a sense.
Not to put you on the spot, did you have a favorite track on that album?
Favorite tracks? I think the first song called Freak Flag Fly is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album because it's a little bit new territory for us. It's just it's kind of cruises, and it's a little groovier, and it's a little different. But I love like Chemicals, which is the one with Matthew Caws from Nada Surf. It's just kind of a straight, just kind of ripper indie rock song. And then the other song that's kind of been getting some, I don't know, response has been Only Macaulay Culkin Can Save Us Now, which is just like a satirical, political, commentary song about how, America is just so upside down politically, and we can't agree on anything ever, except I think one person we could all agree to lead our country to greatness is Macaulay Culkin.
You brought up you did a lot of that album during the pandemic, but when that hit, I mean, you were already a full-time musician at that point, weren't you? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what did you do to kind of keep income coming in, or were you sort of just on pause waiting to see how long it was going to take to shake out?
Well, I'm always like, I got such a hyper brain that I'm always like trying to figure something out. Like at first I was like, wow. I remember going into my living room and just sitting in a chair and looking outside at a sunny day and being like, wow. I have a blank calendar. I don't have to do anything, go anywhere, call anyone, email anyone. I just remember that feeling as being like so good, such a great feeling. And then, it just became a songwriting spree. And, I found ways to sell some more merch online, kind of just general kind of trying to be scrappy and hustle a little bit, but might have been one of the happiest years of my life, to be honest. I had one of my best friends live down the street. We made bonfires all the time, ate a bunch of mushrooms on the beach. It was pretty good. So I don't know. I guess we can't ever recreate the Pando, so it sucked for a lot of people, but there was positives.
So I guess at some point, though, it got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore and you wanted to do something. And were you wondering if it was ever going to get back to normal where you could actually
I was hoping it would never get back to normal. I was like, let's just do this now.
Well, obviously you came out of it just fine. Are you married?
I'm not. No.
Not married? So you don't have any buddy at home to kind of tie you back? You can
No, but I got back together with my ex-girlfriend Anna during the Pando, which was awesome because we're still really tight, really good friends. But yeah, that was another component that was great because the pressure was kind of off our relationship a bit, and the house is 2 units, so we had our own space. We usually rent the upstairs to Airbnb, but we had all this extra space, so
nice.
The upstairs was a creative zone, and the downstairs was the kitchen cooking zone, and it was a good time.
Well, you've got that kind of led into that highly personal question led into this next one. So you've got a lot of shows coming up, and you're actually going overseas. Is that hard? Do you enjoy? You're in Vietnam for a couple of years. Is it hard for you to go away for that long, or do you enjoy it? I know you're close with your family, and
yeah, no, I'm pretty nervous. I mean, to be honest, I've had a pretty rocky time mentally. I'm weaning off this anti-anxiety medication called Paxil, which is never take that medicine. It's crazy. I mean, I'm a fan of antidepressants. I think they're great for stretches. This is not. I actually looked this one up. It's the side effects are really intense. It's side effects may include suicide, and suicide. So I'm trying to. My brain has just it's never been so out of whack. Just high ups, really low lows. So I think I'm kind of getting to the other side of that, but apparently that can last for weeks or months after you stop taking this garbage. So I'm looking forward to feeling more normal again and feeling more, feeling pumped to wake up in the morning and stuff. But yeah, so at the moment I'm just trying to power through that, exercise a shitload, eat a bunch of salad, not drink beer. But tonight I might have to have a beer. It's Mile Music, so I'll be all right. Don't call in. I'm not going to kill myself.
You were going to come on the show a while back, and then Charlie Berens stole you out from under me, and you did a bit with Charlie for his, I don't know, his website or something where you were a basketball coach.
I was a basketball referee.
Referee, that's it.
Yeah.
That
that's
looked
right.
fun. I would have totally chosen that as well. But I mean, how was that experience for you? It
was fun. I just it was kind of on my creative bucket list to do a skit with Charlie, and we've been in touch a bit over the years. We actually went to grade school together for a couple of years, and so I was a basketball referee, and early on in my music career, when I had weekends off, I'd officiate 4 or 5 games. Youth leagues, summer high school leagues. So I had all these experiences of parents being absolute psychopath, delinquent 4-year-olds, because they would their 9-year-old girls game, they would be screaming at the officials and eating a donut and drinking a big gulp. I'd be I got to write about this. So I wrote a sketch about it, sent it to Berens and his people. They kind of punched it up and Berensified it and made it a little tighter and stronger. And then we shot it in an afternoon at a cold gymnasium that was actually condemned, so it was ice cold in there, and it was March maybe, and it was actually, I walked into the gym, I was like, oh crap, I used to play AAU basketball games in here when I was 14, so it was a full circle moment, and yeah, it was cool, and now you can watch it online. It's called Dad vs. Ref. Charlie plays a ref that's just going postal, Charlie plays the dad that's completely out of whack going postal at a youth basketball game.
And I love the spectators that are sitting on the benches. There's just people sitting around. One guy is just kind of old. There's an old camcorder, and there's just lots of cool stuff that I think when you're putting something like that together, you've got to kind of think ahead, okay, we're going to need this, or let's bring this. And obviously Charlie's been,
oh man, it's such a production. It's it was a quick shoot production, but even still, big lights, big camera, second camera. Charlie's got his producer there. We get a couple extras, and he's such a pro. He's I don't know, maybe like a perfectionist in a sense of like, just like, make sure, let's get this joke. Okay, try it this way. And we're improving off each other. And I love improv, but I'm not trained. I just goof off online. He's like trained. He's been to like the comedy schools, the improv schools. So he knows, I don't like these certain lingos for certain things. And, so that was a bit intimidating because I was like, dang, this guy like does this full time and he's so freaking funny. We're all just like losing it. And he doesn't lose it. He like stays in character. He busted out some tears. I'm like thinking he's going to break and start cracking up, and he just stays like, he's just like, let's do another one. Boom, 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 boom. More jokes, more improv. And I'm just like trying to hold it together. But yeah, it was awesome. The guy's a legend.
And we're kind of running towards the end of the interview, but before it's over, I want to ask you about Dirt from the Road. It's a podcast you've been doing for quite some time. You interview guests and you talk about how to kind of keep sane and kind of stories from the road. How did you get started in that? And what are some of the cool things that you've learned about yourself and some of the guests by doing that? Yeah,
that was Dirt from the Road is a podcast started in the Pando. But yeah, musicians come on, comedians tell their like lowest moments on the road, career highlights, lowlights, which is always really funny in retrospect, you know, because like you have these lows where you're like waiting to go on stage in an alleyway in the South in Alabama, like crying in an alley after your girlfriend just broke up with you, and then you got to go on stage and like make people laugh or like, you know, perform. So yeah, it's been a nice ride with the pod. It got me in touch with a lot of bands I like, a lot of my musical heroes. It was actually kind of partially the catalyst for the album Friend Rock, because it just sparked up a lot of cool new relationships and stuff. And a lot of 90s bands you've heard have been on there, you know, Guster, Verve Pipe, Not a Surf, All American Rejects, Dashboard Confessional, stuff like that. So small artists, bigger artists, kind of all over the board. So yeah, check it out if you want, but no pressure. Dirt from the Road.
How often are you releasing episodes of that? Do you record it regularly?
It's once a week, yeah. And I'm actually running around Mile of Music doing a few, so
getting some in the can.
It's fun, yeah, get them in the can. It's like, you know how it is with like work, you want to like, it's really good to like bucket things. Like you do all the podcasts in a row, and then you do all the recording in a batch, and it kind of keeps your rhythm and keeps you doing similar tasks with the similar part of your brain all at once.
I'll say this about you, Brett. You're not like a guy to sit on your hands. Like you're at something like Mile of Music. And you're not thinking, well, I'm just going to sit by the hotel pool and drink a couple beers. You're like, how can I use this time to get, you know, more done?
Sure, yeah.
It's admirable.
Thanks, man. Well, you're doing a good job as well. And obviously, I mean, this studio is incredible. I want to build this at my own house. It's great.
Sweet. Well, let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I got to get a basement first.
Yeah. Well, you've got that upstairs you could just keep for a while.
Yeah, people giving us money to sleep there, though, so I gotta keep it open.
Well, you could like, is it 2 rooms upstairs? You could just be like, this room's off limits.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, call in, join the Patreon, PO me a briefcase of sweaty money so I can buy a basement.
What do you have coming up next? Are you working on a new album? I know you just had the single come out, so it's kind of ludicrous to look ahead to the next album, but are you working on stuff?
Yeah, it's time to start recording stuff. I don't know. We might record a couple singles up in Appleton with Amos from Tenement. That's probably going to happen over the winter. He's awesome.
Memory.
He's so good. But yeah, I guess start thinking about recording. I'm ready to start making songs again. I've got a bunch of, 50 or 60 songs written, so it'd be cool to record them onto a thingy.
50 or 60 songs written. How many songs do you have recorded? It's got to be close to 100.
I think so. Maybe 100.
That is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it a long time, so.
Well, still though, I mean, that output is that's great.
Thanks.
Do you find it easy to songwrite?
Yeah.
What's harder, writing the lyrics or the music
for
you?
I sound like a douche. Well, sometimes you sit down and you're like, this is garbage. Like I write plenty of turds that I just try not to show them to people. But no, that's like a mode that, I don't know, it's just like a thing that works for me. I suck at a lot of things. I feel like I'm decent at songwriting, and it's a good therapy for me. So I'm going to keep doing it.